Nintendo fans everywhere are sick of it. They're sick of it. Not only are they sick of waiting for a Direct, but at this point, Nintendo fans are sick of hearing about a supposed Direct, of hearing about rumors for a Direct. And I'm sick of it too, because we get our hopes up. Do you think I like getting all worked up, all excited, setting my alarms for Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. and then nothing is announced? No, I don't like it. And no, you probably don't like it either. But this, I think, is different. This, I think, is the big kahuna because it's a major publication putting out this news/rumor article about when the next 2 Directs are coming. And they have specific information from a reliable source, and they've got retweets and nods from other very reliable sources. This is much more than some random Twitter user, some random Reddit post, some random assuming the pattern, which, look, I'm guilty of. I really thought that pattern of them marking the Nintendo of Japan Nintendo Direct playlist, it indicated the Animal Crossing specific Direct. I thought it was going to lead to a general Direct when everyone found it out, but we were wrong. This, though, does feel different because it is coming from VentureBeat, a reliable source. It's coming from journalist Jeff Grubb, and here's what he's saying. Let me know in the comments down below if you think this is the real deal. If you think finally it's the real deal after all this annoying rumor, waiting, getting hyped up, getting hyped down, trying to ignore it, but still getting excited, and then being disappointed. If you think we're at the end of it, let me know in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and are ready for double trouble action in March. Because Jeff Grubb is saying there are 2 Directs in March. One next week on March 18th, and one the following week, he says likely March 26th. He says it's based on what they're hearing as well as under other indicators. Nintendo is in the final stages of putting their general Direct together, and he says it's going to include many third-party games. He also says there'll be an Indie World presentation next week, preceding Animal Crossing's launch and preceding the general Direct. So it's an interesting tactic for Nintendo to, it's kind of bold, frankly, for them to go first with Indie World, because some people are going to be like, oh my god, there's a Direct, it's an announcement. Wait, it's Indie World? But Indie World is more important than ever. I referenced it in my E3 video. With E3 being canceled, and with smaller companies having less and less opportunities to really get their games seen, to catch a wave of enthusiasm, to maybe show it out there, get some more funding, get people excited, build their brand, Indie World is really important and a great way to showcase and highlight these brands who won't have the opportunity to go to GDC or E3 or probably even Gamescom. But then the big Direct is what I think we're all just so jonesing for, and Jeff Grubb says that should be March 26th. Now, Daniel Ahmad, who is Z-Huge on Twitter and Reset Era, he retweeted this. He retweeted this article from VentureBeat, giving a nod and indication that, hey, it's going to happen. And I've seen other people kind of say, yeah, this is what we've been hearing as well. We're talking reliable people. We're not just talking, oh, the scuttlebutt over on a forum or on Twitter. So, Jeff Grubb says that the March 26th Direct is supposedly bringing in big support from third-party publishers and developers. And this would add up, because what have we heard lately? Remember about a month ago, we had all of those ratings board confirmations of games like Catherine Full Body Edition and BioShock Collection coming to Nintendo Switch. Maybe it's finally time that those are revealed. Since we got those ratings, we know that they're almost assuredly legit, and since they're saying that this Direct is going to be third-party heavy, I think we're going to finally get a lot of the reveals that we've been waiting for. Some of these bigger games that may be a little older or may also be newer, and they're going to come to the Switch. I also think then we get a Doom Eternal date in this Direct. If they're really amping up the third-party focus, that's a big third-party game. It'll be out by the time of the general. It comes out March 20th, other places. And with Animal Crossing in the rearview mirror, Nintendo is free and fresh to focus on everything beyond. They really are doing it. They really are giving Animal Crossing 100% attention and waiting until it's out to talk about anything else, which is crazy to me. But that is dedication, and that is the drive and determination, commitment, and almost strange kidnapping type mentality that Tom Nook would love to employ. So I'm sure he's glad about how Nintendo's handling this. There's also the fact, if you're still worried, if you're still wondering, there's also the fact that fiscal years wrap on March 31st for Nintendo. So in that case, they want to get out ahead of that. They want to do more than just have an investor call, which of course they'll have, but they want to share their plans, get fans excited, and get investors excited. Hey, look, last week we announced all these new games. People are hyped about it. Look at all the talk and the tweets and the posts and the word counts and the forums. They want that out there. So it makes sense to get ahead of their shareholder meeting, of their fiscal year planning, so that they can talk and say, hey, look, we're okay. You don't have to stress and worry. It would be very worrisome for some shareholders, I'm sure, to say, hey, Nintendo, you just put out Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's selling millions. That's a very cute Switch. I like the Coral Switch Lite and all, but what the heck you got going on? What the heck you got going on? So it looks like it's Indie World and then a Nintendo Direct. Now, we also know, and I mentioned this in a previous video, that New Wabi Sabi, a now infamous Nintendo leaker on Twitter, who is retired, by the way. He says he's no longer going to be tweeting Nintendo stuff, and I think he even deleted the tweet I'm about to reference. He posted last month that there would be an Indie World presentation next month that he heard about when we were discussing the Zippo leak, that there would be a Direct and whatnot, and a lot of that didn't pan out. Again, I want to reinforce to you that this VentureBeat article is much more substantial than an individual tweeting on Twitter or posting on Reset Era or Reddit or anything of the sort. Not to say that they couldn't have good sources at some point, but for Jeff Grubb and VentureBeat to risk it on this biscuit, I think you know that it is much more baked. And I'm really excited for both of these presentations because, as I mentioned, Indie World without E3, look, besides it being important for developers, it should have really good games. We're talking things like Eastward, finally getting some update of what Chucklefish is doing with that project when it's coming. Hollow Knight Silksong should be there as well. It's been over a year since Team Cherry announced it, and we don't have a date. And then we always get cool new games. We always get a lot of really good, fresh ideas. Not all of them pan out, but many of them do. We already have some big indie hits this year, or at least games that are incredibly well reviewed and regarded. Stuff like Kunai, Murder by Numbers. What's next on the agenda for Nintendo? Also, these indie worlds usually lead to a stealth drop or two, which is fun. I feel like we're at that point where we've been talking about the same indie games on sale over and over again, so it's time to get a new influx of titles, and it's time to get a new influx of drops, and that'll happen. And then that big direct, you're like, what's the main thing you're excited for? What's the big thing you want? Knowing that there's no E3, this year is going to get weird. This year is going to be about online presentations. It's going to be about delivering your plans and your marketing directly to fans. It's going to be about everybody trying to emulate Nintendo Direct. Look, I really think it's awesome that Nintendo is now #1 in the space for how to handle this. They have been preparing for nearly 8 years. Their last on-stage presentation at E3, 2012. Since then, they've been doing digital events, and so they are ready for this year that's getting wrecked by coronavirus to have all of their presentations. I'm not worried. Yes, there may be some delays. Maybe this Direct was pushed back a bit. Perhaps some of the announcements need more time to bake. Maybe some games are going to get delayed due to working issues. But look, Nintendo is ready to handle this. They are going to have presentations, and it looks like they are going to be loading up the last half of March before the fiscal year ends with 2 big shows. So out of the indie world, I want Silksong date, I want an Eastward date, and I want a really cool drop. I want something that we don't expect. And I'll go even a step further and say I want it to be a indie game that isn't already out on another platform and now just, coming to Switch. I want something new that's out today that looks cool, and we can go play it on their date that they think is March 18th, which would be next Wednesday, which is interesting. And then the Direct on Thursday. Also, I forgot to mention, there are always Indie World presentations early in the year. That happens regularly, so even if you don't buy into this stuff, it does make sense. If you look and see, hey, they've had these around this time, got to get that lineup out there, got to get it prepped for the year. So it makes very good sense. And then out of the regular Direct, the main thing I want is Paper Mario. Honestly, I feel like we're going to get big third-party announcements. I think we're going to get those games that were confirmed by the ratings boards, stuff like Catherine and BioShock, Doom Eternal date. But most of all, I want Paper Mario. We'll probably get a Wii U port from Nintendo. Maybe if we're super lucky and they're feeling super generous after all of our patient waiting, they'll reward us with the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, or instead, a tease of what the big fall game is. This is usually where they do it. And I think at this point there is a 50-50 shot that they're locked and loaded for Breath of the Wild 2 to compete with PS5 and Xbox Series X as the big, bold, hey, remember the Switch, remember you love us, remember that moment when you dropped off the Great Plateau and into Breath of the Wild for the first time. That was magical. Let's recapture it this fall. And I think there's just as likely a 50% chance that it's something else. And we've heard thoughts about Mario Kart 9. We've heard different rumors. I'm not going to speculate at this point. Still got 2 weeks till that Direct. But I can tell you my #1 is Paper freaking Mario. And if they're able to revitalize and rejuvenate that franchise with awesome combat, fantastic leveling up and progression, that's going to be a huge hit. And it's probably a summer game. I'll throw one tiny, small personal mention for another Mario Sports title because I love Tennis Aces. I'm down for Golf for Strikers. You deliver whatever you want, Nintendo. I am good. But are you guys good with this? After all of this, it looks like we're finally over the hump, over the hurdle. And I love, like, just knowing that it's going to be there. Look, it's still a rumor. It's not confirmed, but I feel like it's very close to that. And so I love knowing, like, okay, I can just patiently wait till the 18th for Indie World, and I don't have to worry about a Direct next week. It's off in the future. Just knowing is good. I almost wish Nintendo would announce their Directs weeks in advance. And it's probably hard with scheduling and when they get them done and making sure they hit the right date, but I almost wish they announced it weeks in advance. You'd be like, okay, you know on the calendar you look forward to a movie release or a game release? Imagine if we just knew. March 26th, Nintendo Direct. June 10th, Nintendo Direct. September 3rd, Nintendo Direct. You just waited for it. You just knew there wasn't all this BS. There wasn't all this hype and de-hype and escalation, de-escalation. Wasn't all of this assumptions and rumors. And it's stressful. It's a lot. But hey, I think we're in the clear. I really think this is it. People have been saying, like, look, VentureBeat, it almost feels like it's Nintendo wanting them to get it out there, wanting them to say, hey, the Direct's happening. Please let people know so they're not freaking out. And especially because Indie World is next week, they don't want a negative reaction to that. Because if there was no indication that there'd be a follow-up General Direct, I think people would be like, oh my god, Indie World, really? After all this time? Pokemon Direct, Animal Crossing Direct, Indie World, and we still don't know what's coming out on the shelf for Nintendo Switch the rest of the year. What are you doing? But I'm so beyond excited for this. I cannot wait to share it with all of you. Let me know your thoughts and your take in the comments down below, everybody. Have a fantastic freaking day. The wait is almost over. So until next time, be good to yourself and others out there. Stay strong. Wash your freaking hands, my dudes and dudettes. And until next time, it's right around the corner. SwitchForce out.